Warrington Friday night. What's your selection issues this week? Who's in and who's out?
Well, obviously, John Asiata has been suspended for a week, so a pretty important week for him not to play, to be fair. But this is the situation scenario we've had all year. So we've just got on with preparing without him, and we feel that we're in a pretty good spot as a club and team. We've got a home game here. We haven't played here for a couple of weeks now, so it's going to be a really massive atmosphere. Hopefully a sold-out crowd. It looks like that's going to happen, so we're pretty excited.
Robbie Mulhern, Matty Moylan, are they going to feature this week?
Yeah, all those guys, Charnley, have come into consideration. We're going to give Matty Moylan right up until kick-off to see whether he's good to go. So at the moment, it looks like he's in a pretty good place with that, so he's more than likely to play tomorrow.
What about Warrington then this season as a team? What's your thoughts on them?
Yeah, you can see that they're connected as a group, and they have clarity on the way that they want to play, and certainly playing together and winning big games. So they're a team that have improved out of sight over the last 12 months, and obviously brought some real quality players in as well mid-season to strengthen them to a point where they're certainly title contenders. So we've only played them once at their ground there. It was a pretty tough game. I've got some fond memories of that. We led for the majority of it, so I can't see it being any different. We go right down to the wire here, no pun intended, but right down to the final couple of minutes.
And when you look at Warrington, the record of Lee against Warrington over the years, I mean, you won last year, but they were a side that, for whatever reason, victories have eluded the club for a long, long time.
Yeah, I don't sort of look into that too much, Trev, to be honest with you. I think, what I do look into is that our form is probably as good as theirs over the last 2 months, and since that turning halfway point of the year there, we've been a completely different team. So I'm in a really good place, as in our selection for this week. We've got I think next week is the first week where we'll just about have everybody fit and available to be selected. We're 1 week short of that this week, but we've got a pretty good, strong team. You look at their team, they've got a strong team. It'll be a really great battle.
So you mentioned John Asiata looks to be the main one you've been missing. How will you move your pack around then to accommodate his loss?
We've just got to find someone to play that 13 role, so whether that's Jack Smith or Owen Trout or even Aaron Penner, who started for us last week. One of those three players will come into to that starting pack with Amoni and Mulhern in the front row there. So it's still quite a formidable pack. We haven't had that luxury all year. So even though John's out, we've got players to fill in at the moment.
And when you look at this game, you're almost on a Challenge Cup style of knockout and knockout and knockout, aren't you? As you're heading towards hopefully a grand final, but. Does that have its burdens as well? That type of.
I think we've been in this sort of mentality since halfway through the season. I think we got to a point where we've obviously had some in-depth team meetings and obviously understood the scenario that we were in. But in the most difficult times this year, I will say that the group have stuck together and got through. So we put ourselves in a position now where we could potentially enter the six if we win on Friday night. So it's a massive game for us in the sense of the season. Whether we're in or out, every game's going to be important for us. But all we can focus on is the next 80 minutes, which is tomorrow night.
Cheers. Thanks very much, Lonnie. I'll see you
Appreciate
Friday.
It, mate.
Hi, Adrian. Hope you're well.
Drew, hey, good to see you. I'm well.
Good to see you as well as always. I think Leah are the second form team in Super League behind table toppers Hull KR. That must give you a lot of confidence going into this final month of the season, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. But I will say that I still think our best rugby's ahead of us. In a lot of those games we weren't perfect, but as I said, the group's got a way of winning games when we're struggling, and the rugby hasn't been pretty at times and sort of not what we're used to, but we've got the job done. So I feel really strongly that if our performance has been like it has been over the last 3 or 4 weeks, that's probably not going to be good enough for us against Warrington. It needs to be in our top 2 performances of the year. So I think we're rigged up, ready to go for that. I think the players are focused. I think it's going to be a real tough challenge. They've got a big, strong, confident forward pack. They've got some strike that can hurt you at any point. So it's going to be one of those games where you'll hopefully you'll see in us the intensity from the kickoff.
Good stuff. And just on Matt, how is his recovery going? I know you said you're going to give him until kick-off. How has he sort of progressed since that? Because rib injuries are pretty nasty ones to take, aren't they?
Yeah, especially if it's cartilage and if it's the bottom rib. So it changes the length of time being off depending on what rib it is, funny enough. But, you know, I know that he's, you know, he was a chance of playing last week. We made a decision to make sure that he was right for this week. And at the last minute, if he doesn't play this week, he'll definitely play next week. So either way, he'll figure for us in the next fortnight.
And just on Warrington as well, where are the danger areas for them? Is it the halves in the likes of George Williams, etc., or have they got pretty much strength across the park in your view?
Oh, they're playing quite consistently right across the park at the moment. Like I said, they've got a forward pack that have dominated most forward packs in Super League during the season. They've got a 9 that if you're cheating at marker there or you're slow off the ground, he's going to hurt you through the middle there. So, and then you've got George and, you know, the back 5 as well. I think Ashton and Thewlis have come on leaps and bounds over the last 12 months. They're certainly at the next level as players as well. So they've got it right covered right across the board. You know, they've brought in Yates and also Bateman that have certainly improved and lifted the team to another level. So they're a team that are title contenders.
And the final one from me, the LSV seems to be somewhat of a fortress for you guys this season. I know it's a little bit of a cliche that us guys like to say, but you're getting 8,000 pretty much consistently through the gates. I think the North stand sold out for this weekend as well. Yeah. How important is you playing at home for you?
Oh, really important. You know, this game, you know, I feel is a real turning point of the season, and every game has been, but it seems to be the next week that we get to where it's the turning point. So, you know, they're a confident side. I think we're 7 out of 8 wins. I think they're 8 out of 9 wins. So the last 2 months of rugby for both teams have been quite special. So it's nice that we're here at home. Our fans have been awesome all year. You know, they've been as good as any in the competition, and the atmosphere that's created here. You know, there was last time I think we had Saints here in one of our big games, and it was a sold out crowd, and that atmosphere was unbelievable and a night to remember. So we're hoping that we get the same turnout tomorrow night and the same sort of result.
Cheers, Adrian. I'll pass you on all the best this weekend.
Hi, Adrian. How you doing?
Oh, let Callum go.
I'll go on. Oh, cheers, Martin. Thank you. Hi, Adrian. How you doing?
Yeah, very well, thanks. You okay?
Yeah, good. Thank you. You appealed John Asiata's ban. What did you appeal on the grounds of?
We appealed on the grounds that the grading wasn't right, that it should have been a lower at a B, which got him off for the week. You know, we felt strongly that his actions really weren't as bad as what was mentioned and said. So we fought that, and we obviously didn't win.
Do you feel he's almost a target, the disciplinary?
Look, I can't really comment on that, Callum. You know, it's an area where I was, you know, obviously very, very frustrated with the fact that he was suspended for a week. I mean, in our game at the moment, you know, those actions, I feel it's you know, I think a lot of decisions at the moment are going against teams, and there are sin bins where I think some of them are 50-50 for sin bins, and we've just got to remember that the game we love to watch is best when it's 13 on 13 players. You know, a penalty or at worst case a sin bin is sufficient for any team. Now, these are professional players on big money. They need to play, you know, and unless it's something that's attacking of the head or anything like that, I can't see why players are missing 1 week. It's very frustrating, but, you know, that's all I need to say about it.
And just one more from me. I know you don't like to comment on speculation, but you have been linked with a move for Isaac Leo. Is there anything you can say on that at all, Adrian?
No, that's speculation as well, mate. As policy for the club, you know, I don't comment on players that are rumoured to come here or to leave. So, yeah, at this point, mate, my focus, Callum, honestly, is with what's in front of us. We've got a really big week match, 80 minutes. I'm just tackle for tackle, set for set at the moment. I can't really look too far ahead, sideways or behind. We're just caught up in this moment. We've got a massive game. The importance of our performance tomorrow night is massive for this club and for me and for the players. So that should be reflected in our performance. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Thank you, Adrian. Good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks, Callum. Martin.
Hi, Adrian.
Over to you.
Good to see you. Tomorrow night's game, it is disappointing to see John Asiata not there. And I was just sort of thinking, they're going to be missing Matt Duffy, obviously, for quite a different reason. But, I mean, he's been really crucial in their season so far.
Yeah.
Probably even more crucial than John has in yours because he's played more, than John has. Do you think that might be, his... obviously, this young kid, Kai Taylor-Ray, came in last week and scored a brilliant try for them at Castleford. But nonetheless, he's an inexperienced kid. I think that was only his second game, if I understand it correctly. Do you think that could be the difference? I mean, obviously, if the other side has inexperienced players, you tend to target them, I would have thought.
Yeah, we're sort of not sure whether he'll play at one. We've prepared for him at one and one or two other players to play at one there. So we've got that sort of box ticked. But for me, Martin, I think, he's been unbelievable from Duffy this year in the sense of what he's done. I think he's up the top, around the top there with the Man of Steel award, which he deserves. He looks like one of those players who've got spiders on him at the moment, can't be tackled. So they're gonna miss him. But we've been through injuries ourselves this year, and we understand that whoever you bring in has got to do a job. I mean, the rest of them have been very consistent as a team throughout the whole season. So they, as much as he is important to them, I think they'll get on without that, which we've seen last week. But for me, the focus is on us really. I've got one of our main players out too, and we've got to find a way to win and play without him, which I've got no concerns about. John's out of the 23 games this season and Challenge Cup. John's probably missed 18 of them, so it's nothing new for us. We've just got to get on as business as usual.
You mentioned Matt Moylan. I mean, he did turn out 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he shouldn't have done really. I don't think. I think you probably accept that. He thought he was fit, but in fact struggled. It must be a very difficult decision because, as you say, a rib cartilage, difficult things and bloody painful to say the very least.
Yeah.
Will you be sort of nearer to 100% than 50% if he's going to play?
Yeah, I'd say that he's near on 100%, Martin. It's just whether or not we risk that tomorrow. So, we'll do what's right for him and the club and the team. Our season, like I said, it's an incredibly important game for us. And also for Warrington, they could potentially climb up in that top two. They're looking at trying to do that as well with the games that are remaining. So, but for us, if Matt can play, that'll only advantage us, give us some advantage in that area. So, we'll make that decision at the death.
Although having said that, you've got 3 more games, and even if you lost against Warrington, your season actually wouldn't be over. It'd be more difficult, obviously, but
I think
it's a difficult thing to weigh up. I would have thought.
Yeah, I think. Number-wise, we can still make it if we don't win this game, but it's not about that. It's been a real hard year as a coach. I've learned a lot, to be fair, in regards to how you manage the group without so many players not being available. But then I think I've learned a lot, and it's made me better. But we're in a situation now where, I think we were 1 out of the first 9 games, 1 win out of 9, and for them to say to us, look, you got 4 games to go. If you beat Warrington at home, you could potentially be in the 6. I mean, that excites me. And if we win all 4 games, mathematically, we could finish 4th, which is higher than last year, which is just unbelievable. Like, so hard to understand how that works, but mathematically, we could potentially still finish 4th. But we lose 1, we may not make the finals altogether. So it's up in the air. So that's why the focus with the group and with myself is just, let's just worry about, Thursday today. Let's worry about Friday tomorrow, the 80 minutes that's there. We can't look too far ahead because what we're in control of is the 80 minutes every week.
That's why it's a great competition this year, mate.
Yeah.
Because it's so full of uncertainties.
Yeah.
Can I just ask you about something completely different just before I go? Jason Dimitriou, new PNG coach.
Yep.
I don't know whether you know Jason well or not, but
Yeah,
do you have any
really.
thoughts about that appointment?
Yeah, I don't really know Jason well enough to know that, but I do know that, you know, with the NRL bid going towards the PNG Rugby League or Papua New Guinea, it's just exciting what lays ahead there for the country if that's true. You know, there's been government funding that's approved for the country of over 600 million. So, you know, I think Papua New Guinea should be really excited about what's ahead for them. And with this NRL bid potentially being one of the licenses in 2028, there's only, you know, good times ahead for PNG, which they deserve. They're you know, the only country in the world where rugby league's its national sport, so it's pretty exciting times ahead there.
Do you think it's as strong as it's ever been there now?
I think it's probably, yeah. I remember being involved with Mal Meninga in 2011, 12 and 13 where we drove the license to get the Q Cup side in the PNG Hunters in the Queensland competition, and ever since that moment there, I think, you know, things have changed and head in the right direction. You've got PNG players playing right across the world in every club. They're not going to, you know, they'll be favourites to win this Pacific Nations Championship at the end of the year again, which they won last year. And I think, you know, over the next 10 years, they could be a massive success in international rugby league. And I'm talking top four, even higher if they can get it right.
You could actually pick a good PNG side from players playing in the Super League, I would have thought.
Yeah,
at the moment.
Yeah, we've
never
been able to do that.
Against you tomorrow.
We've never been able to do that, you know, and we're at a place now where every position is as good as any player in the world. So yeah, good times ahead.